Hey, welcome back to Black Lab Garage. Got my chief mechanic with me. Today we're going to rebuild the rocker arms and rocker shaft assemblies on this old 390 and put the heads on it and stuff. Let's see what we can get done. You ready? Come on, let's get into it. Alright, let's get these rocker arm shafts and rocker arms and stuff cleaned up. First thing we'll do is go through and number them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't know that it's that important to do that, but I just like to do that. So 1, getting something besides silver to write on aluminum would have been smarter, wouldn't it? And draw an arrow so I know which way they was going. If yours has broken springs, they do make solid spacers for them now. You can still find the springs, but to be honest, they're kind of pricey just for springs. Check your wavy washers out. These are worn pretty good, but they're not worn through. I have seen them worn completely through before. Where'd that other washer go? Oh, there it is. And if you're wondering, I soaked these things in degreaser for about a week. That's going to take a little persuasion, ain't it? If it helps you, keep them laid out in the order that they come off. Sometimes these stands are a pain because, well, everybody knows aluminum and steel galds together, so. And these have been on here since the 60s, late 60s, early 70s, so. Sometimes they have to have a little persuasion. But just keep tearing them down. Well, now that we got it tore down, let's try to clean the shaft up best we can first with some degreaser. And you may tear yours down and find it has really big grooves in it. I mean, and that may happen to me here too. Then, take some emery cloth to it and start polishing it. This is 320 grit. Of course, I'm doing it this way just to get it on video. The best way would be, of course, put it in a vise and wrap that around and go back and forth like a seesaw. So, I want to polish this shaft, and I'll be back here in a minute. Alright, now I'm going to pull these plugs out the ends of the shaft. I drilled a small hole through it, and I've got a slide hammer screwed into it. Let's see if we can get them to come out. There it is. We got one out. We want to take him out because, let me get my phone here, shine a light up in it. There's a lot of crap up in there, and a lot of people never take these out to clean them. Look at that. That all needs to come out. Otherwise, as soon as you crank your new motor, guess what? It's all going through it. So I'm just going to take a piece of all thread and run through from this end and knock the other one out. So I'll be back here in a second. Now I've picked up a pack of these brushes down at O'Reilly's. Let's just see how much crap comes out of here. Okay. Now I got the brush hung in it. There we go. Look at that, and that's just with one swipe. Now you see why it's so important to do this. And hey, there's a lot of videos on YouTube. I see people doing FEs and they're not doing this. Look at that. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to hit the camera. That went on my pants. That wasn't supposed to happen. Look at that. It's caked the end of the brush full. But if I could hold it right, it's looking better. I mean, really and truthfully, this thing probably should have had new shafts. I mean, it'll be okay for now. I might put some new ones in it later. Actually, I'm more than likely, if I keep a 390 in it, I'll probably go to a adjustable rocker arm system, because really and truthfully, the adjustable rocker arm system is a better system, but it costs you more because you gotta get ball and cut push rods and all that. So alright, I want to keep cleaning on these. Alright, now I got it cleaned up best I could. Well, first thing, let's make sure we put the plugs back in, otherwise you're going to be wondering why you don't have any oil pressure. And just for reference, these are Dorman, looks like 555-007, if you need the number for the freeze plugs. Oh, yeah. Where's my hammer at? I must have eaten the hammer. Now let's drop another one in. And if you're wondering how far down in there they go, there's actually like a step inside of it, so they can't go but so far. You'll feel it bottom out. So there we go. Got both plugs in. Now let's start reassembly. Now something I like to do is take the stands and take a flat file and hold it flat and just make sure there's no raised spots. Because, well, especially the one that the oil travels up around, you definitely don't want a raised spot on it. You want it sitting flush. Otherwise, once again, you'll lose oil pressure. Alright, that's good. So, let's see, this was number, where did I mark that at? 1. So slide it on the shaft, and always remember, these slots go to the bottom. And there's the first one on. Now then you can see there's a little bit of wear down here on the pad on the rocker arm. You can take a file, but now don't go flat. Stay with the original curve on the end. And kind of dress it up a little bit. Some machine shops can do this for you. And I'm not going to get all of it out. I'm just trying to dress it up a little bit since we put new valves in the heads. There we go. And once we do that, put a little assembly lube inside of it. Or grease, whatever you prefer. Well, there's one rocker arm on. Let's go ahead and put these washers and stuff on the end of it. Yep, still putting them together. Which it helps once you get so many on, because you got these springs on here. There we go. If you'll drop the bolt in it, you know, to hold the stand in place. We're almost there. Alright. One more rocker arm. And the wavy washer. Not sure what the technical name for that is. And the flat washer on the end. Put the cotter pin in. And if I can bend the leg of the other side, there we go. And just like that, well, I gotta stick the other bolt in here, but just like that, there's one rocker arm assembly ready to bolt down. Something I forgot to mention earlier, I'll show you now, if you can see it. Yeah, right there. Put a light on it. You see that notch right there next to the cotter pin? That notch should be at about the 5 o'clock position, and when it is, the valve stem end of your rocker arm should always be to the left. That way you know your oil holes in the rocker shaft are right. So when you bolt these on, one side, which this would be the right hand side sitting in the vehicle, will have that notch pointed out. The other side will have the notch at the back. But I meant to tell you that earlier and I forgot, but always make sure that notch is at the 5 o'clock position and your rocker arms are to the left. That way your oil holes in the shaft will be right. Alright, let's put the heads on. First thing I like to do, just get some brake cleaner. Just wipe any oil that's on here off. after I kept this motor covered up, I buy those big like construction trash bags, like 55 gallon or whatever, and that's what I cover them up with. Seems to work okay. Down in the cylinders. That's just a spot. And do the same thing to the face of the cylinder head. Or deck, whatever you want to call it. Now I'm going to use these roll gaskets. Now, luckily these do have where it says front. Not all gaskets have that. If they don't, just always remember, see that's blocked off and that's open, you always want the water to circulate at the back. So if yours aren't marked, just always remember, this gets blocked off, water circulates at the back. You'd be surprised how many people screw that up. Okay. Luckily this ain't as bad as the 460, but it's still bad. On the count of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look, the bright side, the head ain't as bad as the intake. Yes, I know you seen me start that bolt dry, but I'm just using it to hold it on there. I definitely don't want the head to hit my toes. Now, man, this motor's a win. I'm just going to use some 30 weight here. Dip all the head bolts, well, dip all the threads in the 30 weight before I put them in. About to get dark on me, I think. That's another reason why I don't like this time of year. Yeah, I'm gonna go get my torque wrench and my socket and have it ready. I'll be back here in a second. Alright, on the first step, is total's 90 foot-pounds. First step I'm gonna go 60. Alright, now we're going to go to 75. Now on the last one, 90. Which still ain't as bad as the 460. I think they're like 140. Alright, that's got that side done. Now we just got to repeat the process for the other side. Which I'll probably do in the morning because it's getting dark and it's a balmy 38 degrees out here right now. So I'll see you in the morning. Alright, let's put the lifters in it. I'm still using that same red line assembly lube. Now you notice I'm not soaking these in oil, because I know there's people out there screaming right now, you're supposed to soak them in oil overnight, blah blah blah. I don't, because we want to check and see how much preload we have. Well, if you soak these in oil, you cannot compress them. I mean, even an overweight sumo wrestler couldn't compress them. And do you know how heavy an overweight sumo wrestler is? And as far as the oil, I mean, we're going to pre-lube this engine anyway. So there'll be oil going around them, you know, before it's cranked anyway. But the main thing is we don't want oil in the lifter so it will compress. And I'm going to do the other side now. Right, now we got the lifters in. We don't want to forget our heat shield. Well, I call it a heat shield. I mean, that's really what it is. Keeps the hot oil off the bottom of the intake. So just snap it in. It goes in underneath the head gaskets. Like that. Now, I guess it's time to drop the intake on, ain't it? Now, before we drop the intake on there, let's clean this. Take this pan off and clean in behind it, because there's always a bunch of crap in behind them. I even center punched him and it's still walking. You'll have to excuse my dogs barking. You'll probably see the neighbor's cat or something. Would you two hush? chisel and a hammer. Look at that. You'd be surprised how many people don't take these off. Wow. Let's get our air nozzle. Now let's drill these out. Rest of the rivet come out. And that broke the drill bit. Great. Now tap the holes to 1/4. Alright, you knew this was coming. Our high temp Loctite. Don't leave home without it. Put that on there. And a lock washer. But that's just a 1/4 inch button head bolts what I'm using. And repeat the same process on the other side. Now I was just dry fitting the intake gaskets, but I want to put some Edelbrock gasket cinch around it. And right here around these water jackets, water ports, whatever you want to call them, there's some pitting, so I'll put some actual silicone around them. Hell, this is just pipe dope. I swear I think that's really what it is, pipe dope. And the only reason I'm doing this is to, hopefully this will help keep the gasket from sliding when I put the metric 1/2 ton intake on it. And I say that because, well, as you'll see when I go to put it on there, I don't have any help. I want to put that on there by myself. And I have no shame in admitting, yeah, I'm going to be on the struggle bus with that. So if this is the last video that you hear of me for a while, you'll know that I'm in the hospital having hernia surgery. I shouldn't laugh because that probably has happened to people. I've actually heard of people dropping those intakes and getting their toes cut off. If you didn't catch it in my other video, this is Motorcraft silicone. It is TA31. And this is some really good stuff. And believe it or not, it's a cheap to buy. It's $15.99 for this caulk size tube at the Ford dealership. I think a tube without what right stuff will cost you that much more. And see, Ford put out a technical bulletin about some silicone is causing foaming in the diesel oil, and this is safe to use with diesel oil. It won't foam. And I'll give you 3 guesses what kind of oil this thing's going to get. Yep, diesel oil. Alright, let's take care of our china walls. Make sure you squirt a little bit up on the gasket. More than likely what I'll do is set the intake on and then let this set up till tomorrow before I bolt it down, because it's fairly cold here. So this stuff won't set up real fast. Now I'm going to put some, I don't like to do this, but that intake had some places that was pitted. So I'm going to put a little bit around the ports. I mean, I could have taken the intake and got it cut or milled. Okay, but then I'd have to find thicker gaskets. Whatever you do, don't use the Felpro, I can't remember the number off of them off the top of my head, but it's the printer seals that are black and has the blue silicone around the ports. Don't use those on FE. They're known to leak and fail. If you need a racing type gasket, then get the Mr. gaskets or something. Or I'll tell you, I like Magnum gaskets. I don't know if any of you have used them, but I really like them. These here are these are some old McCord gaskets I'm using here. Yeah, I guess we'll put some around the water jacket too. Like I said, I don't like to do this, but I don't like water leaks either. Or vacuum leaks, or hell, any kind of leak for that matter. Great, the wind's picking up. You know, y'all know that I'm a Ford man through and through. I always the Ford flag as long as I can. Why on God's earth they ever thought it was a good idea to put an intake on the engine that takes Jesus and all his disciples to pick up, I will never figure out. I knew who the engineer was that designed this. I'd dig him up and kick him right in the begonias. Speaking of begonias, I'm fixing to strain mine out, putting this thing on. Wouldn't be bad if there's an easy way to pick it up. And keep it centered. Shit, I got my shirt in there. Whew. You know what? We're on there. Now, there's one more thing you got to do. On an FE, when you set the intake on, make sure you get your distributor and drop it down in there. You don't have to put it in time yet, but drop the distributor in, because there has been people couldn't get their there we go, distributor in because they tightened the intake down and it was off a little bit, and then the distributor wouldn't go in. So make sure when you put a FE together, when you set the intake on, drop the distributor in. So I'm going to let the silicone set up overnight, because like I said, it's cold, it's not going to set up fast. So I'm going to stop it right here. And the next video, I'm going to put the rocker arms on, or the rocker shafts I should say, push rods, the valve covers, and paint it. Harmonic bouncer, and we're ready to put it in, see if she runs. So I appreciate each and every one of you that's watching. Me and the pups, we really do. We appreciate you. Be sure and like, subscribe. Because remember, it takes just as long to not hit like and subscribe as it does to hit like and subscribe. So stay tuned, and I'll be back with another one. See you.